up night. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, so I remember I share and subscribe. Join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the group. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Spectrum. I am your host, Barnaby Jones, and today we are live in studio here on the Untold Radio Network. That's right, guys. If you have any questions throughout the show, throw them in the comments section. We'll get to them as soon as we can. It is going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to today's guest. But before we get to that, guys, Christmas season is right around the corner. And if you're looking for that gift for the Bigfooter in your life, head on over to Amazon.com or WisconsinCaps.com and pick up Bigfoot is Hiding, the awesome, incredible true story of strange activities in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, co-authored by myself, Craig, and Barb Sulk. It is 10 years of documentation of Bigfoot activity on an 80-acre private property in Upper Michigan. Coming up, guys, if you want to meet the Caps team in person, we are going to be at Oshkosh in February at the Beyond the Veil event. We're going to get more on that later. Midwest Meta Paracon over in Eau Claire in April. And we are going to be at the Wisconsin Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Convention in May 10th. It's going to be an awesome lineup. Grab your tickets. Even if you guys can't make it out in person to this event, you can get live streamed tickets. You can get yourself a virtual ticket for just $5, and all of the speakers for that day's convention will be live streamed. If you can't watch it live, you can even watch it after the event is over. And then, guys, we head down to Chicago Paracon coming up in June. Going to be an awesome start to our year coming up here, guys. So hopefully you can make it out and check that out. If you guys want to show your support for all things here on the Untold Radio Network, here's how.
Hey, Untold Radio Network fans. Want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
All right, guys, as I said before, today we are live. We are in studio here. For any of your questions and comments throughout the show, throw them in the comments section on your chosen platform. Today's guest is ZSkrede. He is the visionary behind CE5, a business dedicated to teaching the CE5 protocols. CE5, which stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. CE5 is the process that facilitates human-initiated contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Zach's passion and expertise in the field make him a leading figure in a growing community of individuals seeking to explore and understand the profound implications of these encounters. Zach offers workshops, seminars, and one-on-one sessions for those interested in learning the CE5 protocols. So now, welcome to the show, Zach. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Barnaby. Doing great. Thanks for having me. How have you been?
I'm doing well. I see we are both in Wisconsin here, and as we can see in the lovely panoramic view behind you, it is our first real snow of the year, so pretty excited for this, and it makes a very lovely background for you today, sir.
Yep, absolutely. Back to real December weather. Yep.
Yeah. Not thrilled about that though, but I love like a big dump right before Christmas, and then let's get it over with and melt away right away. So that's
Right.
good. Awesome, man. Well, it is good to have you on here. I'm definitely looking forward to this conversation and stuff. As I said, before we get into the CE5, I wanted to address some of the stuff that's been going on with these drones and stuff that have been seen all over. For those of you that are not aware, out in New Jersey, and here's a map. This was on the Independent News website from just this week. These are all the states that are currently reporting these weird drone sightings. And there's been a lot of confusion and stuff going around as to what these things are. Are they drones? Are they aircraft? Are they weird extraterrestrials, interdimensionals? What the heck are they? And I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're seeing a lot of, verifiable, man-made aircraft, we can call them, mostly unmanned drones. We're talking about how there's kind of some that look like traditional helicopters and a lot more of the kind of more modern common, like quadcopter type platforms, but they're all running the required FAA lighting that they need to operate at night. And, they're at acceptable altitudes. So they're, by kind of default definition, they're not really doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, which has kind of been what our authorities have been sitting behind as to why they're not taking further action on them as well. They're just drone hobbyists flying around, that all we know. But we, see a lot of information screaming around online, especially when, you can get into TikTok and YouTube and off the mainstream media sources. And I've been seeing a lot of other reports too with going on with these, or people have been seeing some orbs floating around in these areas around the same times that the drones will show up. There's rumors flying around about radioactive material gone missing and everything, making people think that these drones are sniffing out for that material. They're kind of loitering around military bases, which makes people nervous a lot of the times. And we've got a pretty long history of UFOs, UAPs, unknown objects hanging around, especially nuclear military sites, our missile silos and bases where that certain materials stored and handled. Even reports coming from the UK right now and Germany, and some of our places over there. Because, like to admit it or not, we have nuclear weapons all across the world, and that sort of stuff, generates a lot of ET activity. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the beings that we're interacting with and that are kind of loitering around the earth are here to help us, and in a lot of ways they're keeping the fingers off of the button, helping us avert greater wars and blowing our planet up basically.
Yeah, you hear a lot of that. Like there was the one that actually shut down the nuclear silo and stuff. And the problem is there's so much, you talked about like TikTok versus mainstream media and stuff. And even in mainstream media, the people in our government, there was one of the senators or something actually came forward and said it was an Iranian mothership off the coast. And then they said, oh no, there's no whatever proof or anything of that. And but this is a official government person talking on a network news station and says, oh yeah, there's this Iranian mothership. And we're like, now you got all this stuff going on and just so much misdirection and everything. Nobody knows. And we were talking about the video with Donald Trump came out and they asked him, if the government knows what these things are, why don't they tell us? And he says, well, the government knows what they are. And then they ask him, well, have you been briefed on this? What is it? And he's like, well, I can't talk about that. It's just like, well, now you've just talked yourself into a circle saying the government should come out and talk about it. But if you're government now and, you can't even talk about it, it's just, I don't know. I think that you're right that, we talked also before the show about these things that the clear photos of them all appear to be these helicopter type drones that people are getting photographs of, at least those in particular. But as you said, there's other things being seen with them. And that kind of comes to the light of, whatever this happens to be is still being monitored by other things as well. I told you also before the show that earlier this morning, there was a orb or a small cylindrical thing spotted on the ISS feed, International Space Station. And then immediately after that, the feed went out. So that was at like 3-4 o'clock this morning, and they're still having problems with it as I was just checking before the show. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, very interesting for sure.
Awesome.
I think on the kind of another good point that's coinciding with all of this activity, there was a film that just released. And it's kind of the newest in Dr. Stephen Greer's catalog that they've produced, and it's Battle for Disclosure is what it's called. And it's kind of seeing the same thing that happened with, there was a film called 2000 Mules that came out a number of years ago. And right when that released, now all of a sudden the Supreme Court comes out and repeals Roe versus Wade on the same day. So you've got this just massive nationwide distraction away from some really good information that people really need to know.
Mm-hmm.
In my feeling, we're witnessing this in real time, coming out where the distraction is happening and something much bigger is, just right behind it. So hopefully we can burn through that and see what's really out there.
Yeah, I can't remember anything so well. A couple years ago we had those the monolith, the big steel monoliths show up. That was back in 2020, and that was a big deal for about like a week. But this drone situation has been going on since November, and it just isn't going away. And like I said, well, you even mentioned it's over in Europe, it's in South Africa, it's in there's a bigger map that shows like all over the country or all over the world where these things are being sighted, and it's all over the place. Now, is it actually all over the place, or is this, the whole thing of, well, now more people are looking up and they're seeing things and misidentification, and you got a lot of that too. So
yeah, there's a lot more cameras in the sky than there was, even from 4 years ago, let alone 20 to 30 years ago. So we're just law of averages. We're going to get exposed to more things out there.
Absolutely. Well, I think you touched on another important point there that, a lot of people, we say this a lot on this show, that media sensationalizes so much stuff. And you always see, like, every time you see an alien movie, they're coming to, take over the world or destroy the world or enslave the world or something. And, my team has done some stuff with CE5 and worked with this before. And I think that, a lot of these encounters that people are having tend to be positive. Like you said, they're here to help us. They're here to, stop us from hovering that finger over the button. So I think let's transition and kind of talk about that and, the better side of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, on that point, it's I probably can't stress that enough, that 100% of the encounters that I'm dealing with are on the positive side, helping us. And the negative, hostile beings, if you let's say, they've been around for millennia. They're incorporated into our daily lives, and we're looking straight at it. And most people don't even realize that their influence is over everything, and we're shaking away from that and branching out. And now humans are calling out and saying, "Hey, we're ready. We want to see more." And that's what this is all about. Is it's on people's personal time, and as humanity comes around and they're ready, we're gonna kind of evolve and mature, and as a species come into this next step in our evolution. So we're kind of at the base level of this, building it up and breaking free. This it's been tried a number of times throughout the years, but we're starting to feel a lot more confident that it's going to take off.
I think never before has this been such a big, important topic. Like, I don't want to go back to the government again, but now we have, all these congressional hearings and stuff where people are going, you've spent money on UFO, UAP research, and you've investigated it and stuff. So where is this stuff? Do you have bodies? Do you have craft? Well, yes, we have them. Well, why can't we see them?
Right.
They've come out and said there's bodies, there's crafts, there's all this stuff. Not blatantly come out and said it, but pretty much said, yes, there is. I can't talk about it, but it's there. And so why can't we see it? And it's, for the fact that you have the governments all over the world, not just the United States, and all of these important people are bringing this to front. This is an important time right now.
No, absolutely. And I think like you said, we're watching these congressional hearings go on, and it happened in the 50s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We're just repeating the same script. But some really neat things with modern media and communications. So, I mean, I mentioned the newest Battlefield for Disclosure documentary. Well, there's also the Disclosure Project Internet Archive, dpiarchive.com, and that's got a lot of the sauce in it, the stuff that people are looking for, real whistleblowers with real firsthand knowledge of these programs and what's been recovered. And, there are hundreds of whistleblowers in there, legitimate ones, that they're never going to show you in front of Congress because they've got the goods. So that's something that's free out there for everyone to access. I mean, it requires that you create an email login, just because it's constantly under, denial of service attacks. But that DPIA archive is a phenomenal resource for people that want to look into more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, let's kind of talk about CE5. So let's start out with anybody that doesn't know what this is, and just kind of explain the different CEs, and then how CE5 fits into it, and the basis of it.
Yeah, certainly. Because I think, most people are most familiar with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Richard Dreyfuss movie, and where he goes out to Devil's Tower, and he's getting these interactions and callings to go out there and see what's going on, and they're communicating through tones and visual colors and lights that they're using to make that connection between human and ET being. What we do, it doesn't have to be that. It's not that big of a production. it's something that anyone can do, in their living room anytime. And we do it in a group, and that kind of increases the power of it. But we have got close encounters of the first kind where you see them, and third where there's an actual, you're observing the craft and the beings in it. The fifth has come out as being, the human initiated direct contact with that, and the result, the manifestation of that looks, it comes through in different ways, but kind of the biggest, most powerful one I feel is just like the personal one-to-one, like telepathic communication, if you will, for lack of a better term. But it's just accessed most easily through like meditation. If you don't like the word, you can just call it, clearing your mind and setting your intention that you're wanting to go make peaceful contact with these beings. And as long as your intentions are true, you're not looking for just some cheap entertainment or, being a cynic on the topic, you're not going to really get much luck with it. But just clearing it out and sending it out there in the universe that this is what you're wanting to do. And, with a little persistence, you'll get replies and responses. And, a lot of people are afraid, like, oh, demons are going to come through, or oh, I'm not going to have any luck because of this and that. I'm no good at meditating, so it's not going to work. Well, the sooner you can kind of shed those thoughts and just present yourself as who you really are, beings that are going to come, they're going to come down and match your level, basically. So you're, call it like a grand universal, like matchmaking service that's out there, but the ones that are going to resonate best with you are going to come through and, kind of give you the information that you're looking for.
Very good. So basically what you're saying is, people put the intention out that this is the interaction that they want to have, and you put that out into the universe, and the intent is that these beings are going to communicate back on that same level. Now you actually do a group sessions and stuff. You have property in Wisconsin here. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, correct. I've got 20 acres kind of between the Dells and Adams, nice dark spot of the state that's not all the way up north. So it's kind of in a central location. I don't want to say convenient to everyone because we're spread out so far, in the state, but I mean, about as good as you can get with getting a good view of the sky. I feel like, the backstory, how I came into this place was, I would say divine intervention, but there was some guidance going on behind it, and just really works out perfect for this application. And usually we've had fallen just short of about like a dozen people at each monthly meeting on it. But anytime that you can get multiple individuals with that same intention and kind of running that same resonance, it just amplifies the projection, exponentially. So one person is 1, 2 is 4, and up and out and so on.
Yeah. So the more people that you get involved in this, you send that bigger signal out into the universe to try and get their attention.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I have some comments here I want to get to because there's a lot over here, and I want to jump back to them here. Lee Warner is excited. She's going to come out and try and make your event in January. So you got this next event coming up that you were talking about in your group. Tell everybody about that.
The next one, I was trying to get a short notice one, maybe on the solstice, but
yeah, that's right. Yep.
I didn't establish a real good set schedule through the winter time, just because it gets cold and snowy and it's always up in the air, and trying to get people out for that is, pretty tall order. We have a nice campfire to stay warm and looking at other options like that, but yeah, that's hopefully here we'll get a winter meeting going. But otherwise, we'll start up in March and April, be kind of thawing out and warming up. people like to get out more. I think doing one out on a frozen lake to me would be an awesome time, especially one of the bigger ones. We're not too far away from Petenwell and Castle Rock.
We did a citywide one here in Neenah, Wisconsin, when we were filming our UFOs and stuff. And we went out to Kimberly Point Lighthouse. For anybody that's familiar with Wisconsin and Neenah here, it is a huge lighthouse on the Lake Michigan or whatever that is over there. And you could see all the way across to the other side. So you have this wide open water in between us. And we were out there for, I think, 3 hours that night. And the park closed at 10, so we wrapped up pretty close then. But we did see one object in the sky that did not fall on any flight tracker or satellites or star charts. So it was pretty exciting that, even in just 3 hours and stuff of putting in tent out and trying to get this. And, my team is very scientific. What's that over there? That's a plane. Don't worry about it. Well, it's really far away. The closest plane is out by Manitowoc. Yeah, you can see planes a very long ways. Look at stars. You can see them across galaxies. It's just a plane. And this is a satellite. And this, so once you roll all that stuff out though, and you actually have these unidentified things that you're seeing, it's a pretty cool experience. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think one resource that it's a kind of CE5 handbook. They kind of put out there within 6 meetings, get your group together, and by your 6th meeting, you should have witnessed something by then. But I mean, like you said, you just went out there and then within 3 hours was able to generate something. Mm-hmm. So I mean, imagine what you do when you keep building on that and you get more and more, and there's a pretty wide variety of phenomena, I guess we'll call it, mm-hmm. that you'll get as kind of as a response or an affirmation that it's working.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what are some things that people can expect? Because I think, when we're talking about these close encounters and stuff, people are going out there and like, okay, a huge ship is just going to come down and land in front of us, and there it is, right? And I don't think that's necessarily what we're expecting when we go out there and do that. So what are some things? I know we got a couple videos and stuff as well that you've sent me, but what are some things that people can expect to see when they go out there and try this on their own?
Yeah, and I think, that landing and walking out is the one we want to expect. I think we're going to get there in due time, just a little patience and persistence. But I think one of the most common things we see, we'll call it a flash bulb, or up there and you see all the stars and everything in the sky, and there'll be a dark section, and then all of a sudden there'll just be a flash of light come out there, and it looks like a camera flash going off, basically.
Oh, you show that video right away so people know?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
So this is one that, do you want to tell us where this was captured, or is this yours? Or?
Yes, yep, these are all my videos that are back here at my property that we do all the group meetings at.
Very cool. So this looks like it was just back in November, right?
Yep.
November 2nd?
Yeah, because I'm still kind of new with getting some video production out there. My driving, force behind this was never to like create proof for anyone, or video footage and all that. But I mean, we're getting pretty consistent results, and I think having some good video to share goes a long ways to get people interested and engaged. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this. This is a flash bulb.
Brighter stars out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're muted while that video is playing.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, I guess I should have said that.
Yeah, I was just saying that that they sped that up. The video is sped up a little bit, but it's happening through some light cloud cover, and you can see the star Vega, which is one of the brighter ones that we've got out there. So that kind of gives you an idea of the intensity that this one was showing up as.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not, I don't want to say like it's not impressive, but it's not this, like mothership landing, but it's this anomaly that's out there that, you have a star, you have like shooting stars and things like that. And this is none of those things. It doesn't fall under any known thing. So yeah.
Yeah, they'll just pop in, usually one stationary point. And one of the kind of neat things that you can do with them is when you see one like that, gratitude goes a long ways.
Mm.
Think about, you and I, if, I did a favor for you or did something for you that required some effort. And I said, okay, here's XYZ that I did for you. And you just kind of take it and shrug your shoulders and walk away with it. Like, okay, I'm probably not going to come back and do much more for you. So, you'll see a point like that happen. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thanks for coming out and replying to us, and everything like this. What are the chances you could give us another one? And you'll get, responses back and repeats the same light and the same point, and then not any like set interval or anything like that. So it's really cool when you get, affirmations like that something's working.
Absolutely.
A lot of the other, like along that same line, you'll see things moving similar to an aircraft or a satellite, but we use multiple different resources to whittle the unknowns out or the knowns.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're left with that, kind of just thinking out to them, hey, are you a craft out there? Are you beings? What can you make a left turn to show us? And a lot of people get results with that where it's going, and then also it'll change direction on them.
Yeah, because if you have a shooting star, you have a plane, you have a satellite, they don't change direction.
Right.
I mean, they do, they curve or whatever, like airplanes, but as far as any of the other stuff, that's going to go in a straight line. So if you have anything that goes across the sky and then makes a sharp turn of any kind, I mean, that's something to pay attention to.
And we've got results. So I'll just kind of bring some of the tools in here as we go. So we use a green laser pointer, and that's handy for, you got a group of people and you're looking at the night sky and look over there. Well, over there is a pretty big area. We had an object traversing across the sky in front of us, and as we all kind of got our attention onto it, and we could see some of the shape of it. It was triangular, like three lights on it. And as I tried to kind of highlight it with the laser, it dodged it. And and then some just disclaimer, I'm not out here with a laser beam shining it at aircraft and everything like that. As a licensed pilot, I'm well aware of the dangers and implications of that. And yeah, so it was really cool to see this craft out there, kind of see it and then just make a loop around it and then take up and sped off and kind of got out of there.
I think that's a very good point. You talk about like pointing it out with a laser and stuff, but that goes back to making sure you know what it isn't.
Right.
When we're talking about these, before we go any further, like there's a bunch of apps. They're free apps that you can get. And there's like Flight Tracker that allows you to track helicopters, airplanes, anything like that, shows you where they're coming from, where they're going. There's the satellite and star map trackers as well that you can track satellites across the sky. They're really good resources. When we go out, we have all three of these laying on a table so that we have somebody monitoring it. And when we see something, we'll point it out with our finger in that general direction. And if there's nothing on any of these charts, then we point the laser at it and say, okay, what is this? So, all right. Just want to make sure we're clear on that for anybody that's just starting out shooting lasers in the sky. But
yep, for sure. For sure.
Awesome. Well, what else you got?
Let's see, trying to think of, so, and I've had a little bit of video of some moving craft. You'll get some that are kind of at a weird altitude. They're not really like out up there with the stars, and they're way further up than what any aircraft would be cruising at. And think some of the other physical things that we've got. And so lately also we've gotten a lot more action like on the ground level.
Really?
Which kind of brings in another aspect of this. We're not just looking at extraterrestrial, like space star people. It also kind of brings in the elementals, the extra dimensionals, you know, Bigfoot, fairies, forest gnomes, those types of beings. So you got a really cool capture of a like fairy like being doing a flyover, which when we saw it in person, it just looked like a meteoroid flying overhead. It was a flash of light, it was going pretty quick, straight line, and it met all the hallmarks of any traditional shooting star that you'd see. And there's a number of us that all saw it. We all thought the same thing, and then I got the video into it later and slowed it down and took the frames out, and it was very clear that it came from like the trees. It was under the tree line. That was a really cool capture that we had.
Do you get any like the flash bulbs or the orbs of light or anything more towards ground level as well?
Yes, and actually I had a good capture of a flash coming from the like within the trees. And then, we've had some orb interaction also. So, when we talk orbs are essentially like the level of visual manifestation that our human eyes can pick up of, beings out there kind of cruising around in our area, where they're not fully, in the same like 3D density that, the humans and this earth is in. Because like it or not, there's a lot of stuff out there that we can't see or detect with what we have currently, either physiologically or technology sensors and recording systems. They're looking at a pretty fine band of visible spectrum light. So there's a lot dancing out there, and getting to interact with them and getting them to kind of come into our spaces has been pretty neat as well.
Cool. Have you, when you're using the recording and stuff for these events and that, do you ever use thermal or like night vision full spectrum cameras as well to try and pick up things that we can't see with our eyes?
Yeah. So one other group member, he's gotten into a little bit of thermal equipment that we can kind of watch and use and see. That works well. And I picked this up recently, and it's what I've been able to film our most latest results. It's a psionics aurora is the name of it, and it's kind of a mid-range consumer grade. They call it night vision, but it's just a really sensitive IR camera basically. And it's got a lens modification that I did to it, because what the stock lens is pretty much worthless. So getting a lens that can do some zoom and then takes all the filters out really opens up a lot more of the spectrum. So it's really kind of cool when you use it in person and you have it pointed at a section in the sky, and you can see presumably a lot of stars that you think you can see, and then you look behind that and it almost doubles the number of lights that are there all of a sudden. So there's a lot going on out there.
As much as we like to think that we can see things and interact with stuff, you have no idea what you're not seeing. I've seen a lot of pictures of recently with all the aurora borealis stuff going on, and the northern lights, and people are taking pictures of like a dark sky, and your phone picks up these auroras, and they're really cool looking, but looking at it with your naked eye just up in the sky, you're not seeing any of this. And that is, without saying weird UFOs or UAPs or anything weird, I mean, look at just that is what we're missing out on with our limited visual range and stuff. It's just amazing the stuff that's out there.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We got a couple more questions here if you're interested. We got, let's see, Lee again. would like to know, have you thought about doing CE5 with the Fallen Heroes organization?
Oh yeah, I think I saw that in the chat thing pop up. I have not. I'm not real familiar with the organization, but I'll have to definitely check into them.
She says Scott Violet at Sasquatch or Squatch America can help with that. I'm familiar with Scott. Scott and his wife Hannah have been on my other show, but Squatch America does a lot of cool stuff. So if you're interested, I can get you in touch with them as well. But I'm not familiar with that as well. But interesting. And then another question here is, who is the author of the CE5 handbook, and is there a different book that you recommend?
I think there's a couple of pieces out there. This here's the one that I kind of push the most. Sorry, I'm trying not to get a big glare on there. And this is a kind of a group production, and they bring out a great big old list of acknowledgments down there, and comes through like CSETI, and it was really just a lot of contributors that put this piece together. And it was I can't remember what province in Canada, but they were the ones that kind of coalesced it all and put it into publication. And that's one that, you can get the PDF for free online, or, for $15. They're on Amazon. And I enjoy it because it's all how to, and it's techniques and different tips and tricks, and goes through all the equipment and everything. It's not just like someone's stories about the stuff happening. It's actually self-empowering. Hey, you can do this. Here's exactly how you can do this. So that's been the biggest one that I've keep going back to. Again, Dr. Stephen Greer, he's got a number of books out there, and some of them, they get into some of their group experiences and everything, and some of the technicals and how-tos, but
there's a whole documentary as well out on the CE5 by Greer, isn't there?
Yes, yep, there is. There's it started back with Serious Disclosure, and then kind of come up through the years, and they try to incorporate it into a number of their productions. Unacknowledged, I think, was probably been the most impactful for me, because they kind of do like half disclosure stuff, and then they get away from it and get into how you can do CE5s. And that was the film that kind of hooked me and opened me up to the world of this. So.
Stephen Greer also has an app. I can't think. I have it on my phone. I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head, but it's basically.
I use the same. It's just CE5 Contact, and that's on Apple and Google stores.
Yep, CE5 Contact. Yep, and that one you do have to pay for. It's like $1.99 or something. It's not an expensive app, but it has tones and guided and all kinds of stuff for anybody that's just getting. It has information in there as well that you can look and learn from as well. So it's a very good, handy tool to have with you. So.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, good plug on that. I wanted to include that into this whole presentation, because that was. Dr. Greer's guided meditation in it. He kind of goes through and covers all the points, but maybe not in like full terminology that everyone's familiar with. I started doing more of a personal live reading for our group meetings, because when we started out in our infancy, it was just kind of hit play on the speaker and listen to it, and it works, but there's a lot more effective ways to get the group dynamic going and get everyone on the same frequency, more or less.
Absolutely. Lee says that the Fallen Heroes organization is run by veterans for veterans. It mainly takes veterans out hunting, fishing, etc. But Scott takes veterans out Sasquatching. I think this would fall right in line. That's very cool. Yeah, I actually am familiar with that. It's like they help them out go hunting and stuff now. I've heard about that, like on NPR and stuff they were talking about. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I know there's a couple different vet organizations like that. 'Cause I think, I got to go along. They were called Take 'em Outdoors, a smaller group that's similar to the same. And I love love everyone that's out there, putting those events together for vets and giving them the chance to get out and experience different things in the world.
We used to partner with VetTix, VITTIX, and they would give tickets to events to veterans and stuff like that. And when I owned my haunted house attraction, we always donated to them every year. So we'd have veterans and stuff get free tickets to the haunted house. So,
Oh, very cool. Yeah. And I guess, disclaimer, I'm a veteran myself. I was in the Air Force, and
very cool.
A lot of my experiences during that time, really bolstered up any beliefs that I had, and the wider ET realm, and including craft and things in the sky type stuff. Got a pretty good personal experience library, if you will, on observing things flying around in the sky. So that kind of adds another level of good checks and balances to weed out these false positive type settings or sightings.
I was going to ask you too, how did you get interested in all this? Where did this all start?
So kind of like I said, growing up, I always just knew I grew up in Belleville, one of Wisconsin's UFO capitals.
One of the UFO capitals of the world. Yes. We have 3, so we're well off here.
Yep. And so, the topic was never like taboo or, weird or anything like that. It was pretty much normal. And I never really dove much into the, conspiracy theory type stuff and following closely after, those types of movements. 'Cause I knew I didn't need any further evidence or proof. I just kind of knew. And, like I said, Air Force experiences just kind of bolstered that. And it wasn't until 2021 when I finally saw that Unacknowledged documentary. I was just cruising for something to watch one day. It's like, okay, I'll see what they're talking about, with all this. And a lot of the government disclosure stuff was kind of run of the mill and what I was expecting. But then when they said, oh, here's the CE5 process, here's how you can do it yourself. Whoa, we can talk about this now. It's happening. I want to get all in on this, and just dove in. I was not a meditative person before any of this at all. So I guess just further kind of just goes to show you that, anyone can do this and learn it and pick it up. You don't have to be naturally gifted or anything like that. You just got to have a little perseverance. I used another phone app called Insight Timer, and it's a meditation app basically. And they had an excellent 7-day learn how to kind of program. And it was on the free level of the app. You didn't have to pay to get to that part in it, but it worked phenomenally for me. So another plug, I guess.
Well, that's very important, we talk about doing all this stuff, but people, it's such a daunting thing. Where do you start? And to be able to offer resources like apps, or, to tell people how to be able to do this on their own, that maybe can't make it out to, well, if you're not in Wisconsin, obviously you're probably not going to come out to your events anyway, or anything, but, we got people listening all over the world. And so people can do this wherever they are, as long as you can, put the intent out and do it. Brenda would like to know, how long do your events usually last?
So we usually meet about an hour before sunset. It gives people kind of time to get settled in and chat, and because everyone likes to talk about all this stuff and what's going on, and you get around like-minded people, and it's what you want to do. And so usually by the hour and a half, 2 hour mark, we're done with our group session. we'll do like group meditation, kind of read through and go, give that some time to work. And so like the summertime, we would meet at like have a 7:00 meeting. And by dark, we've got kind of the formalities wrapped up, and it usually lasts till like about midnight, but there's kind of an open end on it. So people that don't like staying out that late, you don't have to commit to the entire time type of deal. But usually it's good 4 to 5 hours that we get out of it. And I mean, obviously we can go longer or shorter as needs be what they are. Looking at organizing a kind of a camperoo this summer, probably June or July. So give people, the opportunity to do an overnight. That's always an option for any of my meetings. I've got some, camping space basically. And then the Dells aren't very far away. I think someone might have even said something about that.
Lee said lots of hotels in the Dells if you go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's about 20-minute drive.
Nice.
So not horrendous, but
very cool. Lee says, I'm going to the camperoo. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of good to see a couple of people that I've met through some of my outreach and everything are in here. That's awesome to see. Thanks for showing up. Even so, Steve Young, an old Air Force buddy, is in here. Give him the Wildcat shout out.
Yes, absolutely.
To see you, Steve-O. Haven't seen him in a number of years.
Very cool, man. We are live, as you can probably tell. So if you have any questions or comments, throw them in there. We're coming up on the end of the show here in a little bit. So make sure you get them in. We will get to them as soon as we can, if we can, before we head out here. As long as it's not... Lisa, she's coming to the camp out as long as it's not May 8th through the 11th. Gee, that would be the convention that we're doing in May. So there you go. Shout out to that. Lee will be at our convention. So
yep, awesome.
Do you use, we talked about Stephen Greer's app, and he has like some tones and stuff on there. Now these are really interesting, I found, because like when you put sand or water on a speaker, right, and you play music through it, it creates symbols based on that tone. So what he has done is reversed that and put a symbol into a tone. And these are all in the app that you can download and play different stuff like that. And that's really interesting to me, like how that works. Yeah, there you go. Lisa's crop circles. That's what they are. Some of them, he has like different crop circle tones and stuff in there to try and play back. So have you tried any of that out there? And what has been your response on that? Anything different or more or less? Or
yeah, and those are kind of brought up as brought into the practice as sort of like a primer. So
okay.
We'll play them over from the app, and you get a small handheld radio, and you kind of key the mic on that, and then you're sending it out on a boosted, like RF level transmission.
Nice.
Of course, abiding by all FCC regulations with radio, protocol and all that. But on the crop circle tones, how those came to be, I think is really, really cool, because we see all the ones in over in England. And they've definitely got the most elaborate and beautiful productions so far. And they're all around some very large, like gypsum and limestone formations that are in the ground there. There's a connection that a lot of these beings have with calcite, limestone, the crystal version of it. And someone found this, like figured it out, that the sites where these impressions were made in crops, that there was like residual transmissions floating around there. So they were like picked these tones up just in the kind of natural, in the field where the crop circles were, and that's where like the recordings came from originally. So, you know, back to the, you know, this somatics of it and the visualization of them sound waves, what we were hearing was the auditory commands that were creating those patterns.
Mhm.
And some of them, you know, have even been broken down even further, and they've gotten like live recordings of these coming through and have gotten responses back and pictures and encoded messages into it. So, I mean, it's another really cool rabbit hole to go down into of ET contact and communication.
God, there's so many there's so many different things you can go down with this. I just read an article about kind of off topic but on topic with the signs and stuff here. There's a lady working with water and the fact that water has a consciousness.
Yeah.
And she's taken different audio tones and stuff, or she's shown pictures, like shown a picture to this tray of water, and then she'll freeze it, and the water will show a ice version of that picture. And it sounds freaking sci-fi, weird, whatever, but I mean it I don't know. It's really cool stuff, and this is going on like right now. Different tones and stuff that she plays to them, and when it freezes, it shows that back, like it has a memory of some sort, and it's just amazing stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's way cool.
Definitely look it up. I don't have a link, and I should have more information on that if I'm going to talk about it. But definitely go look it up. How water has consciousness and memory, and it's just really cool. So, hey, Lee Warner, I tell you, Dr. Masaru Miyoko. There you go.
Kind of the original progenitor.
Lee is like my backstage assistant. She just looks up and Googles stuff that I talk about to put it on the show. I love you, Lee. I love you so much. I appreciate you coming on here every week. So there you go. The miracle of water.
Yeah, awesome.
There you go. God, that's awesome. It's really cool. If you guys get a chance, look that up and look at her work and stuff. It's really fascinating stuff. Lee says thank you. Yeah, you're awesome, Lee. Hope you she won the giveaway for the Northwoods brick set. So that should be sailing on over. You should be getting that today, I think, Lee. So awesome. Congrats again on that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we like I said, coming up on the end of the show. If anybody has any last minute stuff, throw it in there. But like you said, you're working on trying to get an event coming up for the solstice, if that happens through. And then, you know, once a month throughout summer, you got the camp out coming out. Where can people find all this information?
Right now, kind of the biggest central spot, I've got a Facebook group, Central Wisconsin CE5. You just search CE5 in Facebook or Wisconsin CE5, and it will take you right to it. I haven't been kicked off that platform yet, but someday when the day comes, and we'll get it migrated over to our own private website where you can dedicate to and hopefully put some footage and everything else on there, people's experiences, kind of, you know, future down the road plans, the extended vision of what this looks like.
Very cool. Do you charge anything for your campouts or your meetings or anything? Is there a membership fee or anything?
Nope, for the general meetings and everything, no. The camp out, really, I haven't figured out how much or what it's going to be yet, but there's going to be some, you know, food involved and, you know, campsites and set up stuff for people if they need. So there's some, you know, return value in it there. But generally speaking, just, you know, monetizing the actual practice is, I won't call it taboo, but not really in true alignment with the mission, you know, where it's getting the information out to people and encouraging the practice and just, you know, growing it through that way.
Very cool.
So anything that I'll be charging for in the future will be, you know, other services more or less, you know.
Very cool.
People are looking for, you know, weekend private group sessions out in their settings or whatever, you know, I can go out for a weekend and cover that.
So you do like, instead of people coming to you, you can go to other people and help them and train them as well?
Yep, I offer that if people are interested in it.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk real quick here about around the United States, around the world. Are there any other reputable groups that you recommend for people that aren't in Wisconsin? Where can they find out how to find local groups in their area?
Well, using that CE5 contact app, there is actual networking section in there where you have your location turned on, and it'll pull up anyone who's kind of near you in the area, and you can send messages through that. People have had different levels of luck with that, because a lot of us aren't in there on the daily, and it doesn't really get you a lot of notifications. But just searching through internet resources, we've got Facebook and Instagram. A lot of groups are kind of organized through those platforms, so you can find them everywhere. I work with a lot of other group organizers, across the U.S. and then overseas out into Japan and Norway, UK, and we're down in Africa and Central America now too. So it's really reaching out and growing. But there are there are local groups popping up just all over the place now. So
yeah, I belong to several CE5 groups on Facebook, and you can find all kinds of events all over the country and stuff and beyond. So there's definitely, if you just give it a quick search on whatever chosen platform you're on, I'm sure you can find a ton of it. Have you ever tried to organize anything like with multiple groups at the same time, like in Illinois and Wisconsin and, Texas or something, all doing it during the same time frame or anything and looking at results?
Yeah, and I mean, on that point, so there's a couple people that I work like a lot tighter closely, where we'll do some video conferencing like this. When people are out in Michigan and Georgia and across the nation, but it's kind of set up where like the first Saturday of every month will be like a global coordinated CE5 day, more or less, because they kind of tell you to do it in your own time zone, what works for you. But it's at the same day, and if you really want to get into how like time works and all that, it doesn't really even matter.
That's another whole show. Yeah.
So most of my meetings are held on the first Saturdays of the month. So like Stephen Greer, CE5 puts that out. Another Costa Macris, he does ET Let's Talk. It's another kind of organization website that tries to get people together. He lands on the same days. So we get a little, bigger worldwide group boost through that in a sense.
Very cool.
And then I'm also looking at platforms and how to do streaming and stuff online to have some of our meetings broadcast a little bit. The level of interactiveness and all that, who knows how that'll shake out, but yeah, just options for outreach.
I think that'd be really cool to have multiple places like looking in the same direction, from around the world, because then you can help triangulate, this, was a, whatever. And you can try and figure out where it was, how far away it was, if it was really in the sky, and also help, weed out some of those other things as well that may be earthbound, like for something like fireworks, for instance.
Yeah.
That one's a big one because, like light travels so far, and when you're close to it, it looks like a firework. And when you're far away, it looks like, flash bulb or something else that you're seeing. So it's really cool to know what's going on in the area. And that's nice that you're out in the middle where it's really dark skies and nothing really going on. So that helps a lot. But
yeah, because I think that one night we were experiencing that where it was more of like an ambient flash that was coming through, where there was no like point of light, but it was, like there was a camera flash going off like around us, and everything down on the ground level was kind of getting lit up. But yeah, to see if other people were seeing that at the same time would definitely be interesting.
Very cool. Or like a whole like pulse of the sky I've seen as well. But I have no idea what that is either. When you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no city, coming
Right.
from, like, it looks like the glow of a city, but just a pulse of light on the horizon. And that's really weird. A lot of weird stuff out there, man.
Yep.
Awesome. Lee says first contact day is April 5th, 2025, as referenced to Star Trek.
Yeah,
That is when,
something if it actually lined up that way.
that's when was it Pike? Who the heck was the first pilot sent the first warp drive up and the Vulcans came down? Can't think of who he was.
Oof. Yeah, really stretching my Star Trek knowledge and experience.
Leo, correct me, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's been a blast. I mean, it looks like we are all caught up on questions here. I don't think I missed anything important. We'll just check here. Drone stuff. I think we're good. So if anybody has any questions, sorry if I missed you. There we go. See, look at Lee. Dr. Zephyrin Cochran. I have his action figure downstairs, just so in case anybody wants to know what a nerd I am. I've realized that human civilization has humans. We need guides to make sure we know the good ones. I'm thinking this is true for ETs, Bigfoot, and such. We need good guides to find the right friend.
Yep, excellent statement. I think, we didn't really dive too much into that, but I mean, everything's balanced out there so just as many like good ones as you're gonna contact and come into interaction with. There's bad ones out there also. So
Absolutely.
knowing how to handle yourself and just put protections out and using guides and stuff like that is, it's another important aspect of all of this.
Do you when we do paranormal investigations and stuff, we put like protections and like I don't know, mantras and stuff like that, like to ward off negativity and stuff. Do you do any of that kind of stuff when you're starting one of these?
Yeah, we'll kind of do the sage, smudge everyone into the group, and like I said, making sure everyone's alignments or their intentions are all in alignment. I had some personal dealings with darker entities. It was also in reaction to a lot of activity that I was doing from my end that was really projecting out there hard. So most people really don't get into that level of agitation of those forces, but I mean they're just something to deal with, just like everything else. And end of the day, you don't even have to fully know what you're doing, but keeping yourself safe and protective it comes in hand with that. So it's nothing too not like a huge showstopper that people should just be like deathly afraid of or anything like this. Something.
I think that goes back to the chances of a big mothership landing right in front of you and abducting you are probably pretty thin to begin with, and I don't think you have to too much worry. You're just looking for the acknowledgement of these beings, and to have that one-on-one contact of hi, back and forth there. So I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah. The most kind of startling thing, I suppose, I've had some objects go, missing. You could tell it missing. I mean, I know where they went. They were taken, I guess, would be a better word to use for that. But in a sense, that it was set up so I'm having a conversation with this being, and what kind of stuff can you do to, prove more or less that you're real. And Where'd your lighter go? You had a lighter in your hand a second ago. Where'd that go? It's gone. So, but yeah, nothing like, we're not stealing your soul or anything like that.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't want to press you too much for time. We're running over here, so if you got to go, we're cool. But do you think that these things are interdimensional or extraterrestrial or a mix of both? Where do you think that these lights and stuff are coming from? Outer space or here on Earth?
Yeah, I think we get a mix of both. Like I said, a lot of the elementals down here on the ground with those, they would fall into that like extra dimensional moniker, where they're kind of phasing in and out of different levels of reality dimensions, if you will. But then there's other, very real solid craft up in our 3D reality, just, orbiting the Earth with everything else that are, when the time's right, are going to be engaged a lot more. We used to see a lot more of them before our kind of planetary defense grid got to where the point it is today. That's keeping a lot of like actual solid craft from coming in and making appearances. Because we don't hear too much about widespread abductions nowadays either. Mm-hmm. Those have really tailed off. So
interesting. Yeah. Lee says, keep it going. No shovel, no shovel. Just have the show go all day so she doesn't have to go out and shovel when it's over. Sorry, Lee, you're going to have to shovel eventually.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you think of the change in shape? We hear a lot of like, it was always like, back in the day, there was the like Zeppelins or hot air balloon type things, and then they evolved into the circular discs, and then it was the triangles and the cylindrical ones, and now we have these little like balls, these spheres and stuff that everyone's seeing. Do you think that has something to do with, like you said, this grid over the Earth, that they can't bring those in anymore, or what do you think has to do with that?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes into our ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, they get named as, and they're human manufactured, because we've gleaned a lot of technology off these things over the years, and there are stuff that we make that's not going to be shown on any website or the news or anywhere like that. They say DARPA is at least 20 years ahead of whatever is released in public knowledge at any time. So, we just saw different models through the years going through different trials, just the same, like there's more cars out there than just the 1957 Chevy Bel Air, that was just one model. There's a huge variety. So as time's progressed, older stuff's fallen off, and we're seeing new things. But yeah, I know those kind of like chrome spheres that you're talking about, just reflective balls floating around. And then on the same kind of thing, there's the similar kind of like a darker black looking ones, and they look like there's a bunch of antennas or something, built off of it.
You hear so much more about that than the circular, not the circular, the pie plate looking ones, I guess. I don't know what you call them, the saucers. Right. There we go. Yeah. Like all the stuff from Skinwalker Ranch is coming out, and they have these weird orb balls, and then all the like not the Tic Tac video, but the other ones and stuff that were released, like the Go Fast and all that. Those are more the ball shaped things. And now there's this I don't know legitimacy on this or not, but that pilot that took a picture of one landed on an aircraft runway. Have you seen that one?
Ooh, no, I haven't seen that particular one.
Yeah, supposedly there's this aircraft pilot came in for a landing, and out of the window there's you can see another plane on the tarmac or runway or whatever over there, and then there's this ball like sitting like a runway over from the plane, just kind of parked there, and he took pictures of it with his phone out of the window of his car, and he's got a couple pictures of it, so it's not like less likely that it was like Photoshop or something, because he's got it from a couple different angles. I mean, anything's fakeable, but it's kind of an interesting picture. But it's just this like dark grayish, blackish metallic sphere sitting on the runway. It's probably pretty big, like bigger than one of those, balls outside of Target,
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably bigger than that. I'd say like 5 foot round or something maybe. So I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we could talk all day and keep Lee and I'm spooky too for you also does not want to go out and shovel snow, but unfortunately life goes on and we have lives, and I thank Zach so much for taking time out of his day and just coming out and sharing knowledge and stuff and promoting this stuff and sharing everything with us.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me on and giving me the platform and spreading the word, and getting some good awareness of all this happening.
Absolutely. You please do keep me informed of stuff that you got going on, like that camp out and stuff. Shoot me a message and stuff, because I'd love to have we've talked at other events and stuff about having Caps come down and film some stuff and do stuff with you. And I do mean it. I would love to come do that, but I gotta know in advance because we got so much stuff going on. So keep me informed and we'll set something up, man.
Yep, and try and give everyone at least a good 6-month lead time on stuff. So.
Absolutely, we will come down and hang out with Lee at the Camperoo there.
I think it's gonna be a good time.
It should be. That sounds awesome, man. All right. Well, you, sir, take care. And thanks for the lovely background view of the snow. It looks like it's kind of tapered off behind you. It's not blowing as much as it was when we started. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. There'll be plenty of it this year. So.
All right, man. You take care. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Barnaby. You too.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. A lot of Zach's stuff is in the show notes. I will try and pull some of that other stuff that we talked about, like Stephen Greer's and that, for you guys that are listening to this on the podcast platforms later after the fact. I will try and throw some more of that stuff in the show notes for you here as we sign off. Unfortunately, with being live, I can't do it for the YouTube, but yeah, we'll try and throw that in the podcast show notes for you guys. Check that out and head on over. And if you guys can't make it out to Wisconsin, check out your local stuff, because there is a ton of people doing CE5 out there. And if nothing else, it's a great time. I know that it's always a blast when we do experiments and stuff like that for the CAPS team, and you have a lot of people involved, because it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of did you see that? Did you see that? And it's a lot of fun. So make sure you guys come and check that out, and it's definitely worth your time giving it a shot. And you never know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get a saucer come down and land for you. But that is our show for this week, guys. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe the Paranormal Spectrum on all of your chosen platforms and the Untold Radio Network. Check out all the other shows as well. And until next time, guys, remember, we are all part of the Paranormal Spectrum. Be well, take care, and I'll see you next week.